Hello students. So let's go ahead with the introduction to SDLC. In this session we are going to learn another model which is called as incremental model. I am Dr. Alifia Jagidar, Assistant Professor of Abida Namzi Senior College. If you like my videos, do press the like and subscribe button. So let's go ahead. As I said, I am going to cover in this particular session is incremental process model. We are going to see what is an incremental process model. So let's go ahead. In SDLC, we have one of this type called as model called as incremental model, which also contributes to our software development life cycle. Now, what is incremental model? It is a process of software development where requirements are divided into multiple standalone modules of the software development life cycle. So here in this model, each module goes through requirements, design, implementation and testing phase. Every subsequent release of the module adds function to the previous release. Okay, the process continues until the complete system is achieved. So incremental means I have a small model, I will do everything for it. I will do requirement analysis, design, implementation, testing phase. If that works correctly, then I'll go to the second model. And I will again integrate this two model, again do the same process with requirement, design, implementation and testing phase, and this goes on till I don't achieve my system. So here it is called as incremental model in SDLC. Now if you see this particular model, this is called as incremental model. This is called as requirement. So I have here, for an example, there is a build one where design and development is done, testing is done, implementation is done. Once this is done, again build 2 is taken, same process is kept on repeating till you get build n, that is the system which you want, exactly a complete system, where it is again design, development, testing and implementation. So that is called as incremental model, where every time small units keeps on adding to it. So that is called as incremental model. The various phases of incremental model, first is requirement analysis. This is the basic phase of any model which you are going to implement in software development life cycle. So this is the first phase of incremental model. The product analysis expertise identifies the requirement. So the requirement is identified. Then the system functional requirements are understood because I need to write down the functions for it by the requirement analysis team. Then a software is developed under the incremental model. This phase performs a crucial role because this is the base of any software development life cycle. The next is design and development. In this phase, the incremental model of SDLC, the design of the system functionality and the development method are finished with the success. When software develops new practicality, the incremental model uses style and development phase. So design and development phase is going to keep on updating every time, like version 1, version 2, version 3, right? So that is called as design and development. Okay. Next is testing. Now testing phase means it checks the performance of each existing function as well as the additional functionality. Okay. In the testing phase, the various methods are used to test the behavior of each task. Now let's take an example. If you all are doing a program of multiplication, okay, and you write your data type. Now in multiplication we require two variables A and B. Okay, those are data type of integer. Okay, and you get correct result like A is 2, B is 3, so 2 into 3 is 6. Very good. Now if I change my data type from integer to float, but the functionality remains same, I want the multiplication. So again what I have to do? I have to again write the small code into it. I have to change the data type. I have to write that small code, that is additional functionality, right? Again I have to test the complete program for integer as well as for the float. So that is what is called here incremental model. In testing phase, there are various methods are used to test the behavior of each task. Now testing is done, we have no errors to it. Now comes the part called as implementation. It will enable the coding phase of the development system because you need to implement. So it is going to involve final coding, the design in the designing and development phase, and test the functionality in the testing phase. So once it designs and then it tests, and then now comes the implementation part. After completion of all the phases, the number of products working is enhanced and upgraded to final system product. So once you're done with all the functionalities and you know now that this is my last, or it should complete my program, and this is what I want in my system, so at that time you have to actually see that completion of this phase, which product is working and what can be upgraded to the final system product. When we use incremental model, first of all, when the requirements are superior, a project has lengthy development schedule, at that time incremental model is used. When the software team is not very well skilled or trained, when the customer demands quick release of the product, okay, that time incremental model is very much in use. You can develop prioritize requirements first. Means if your customer comes and he says, okay, I just want the billing model very fast, you can go for billing model directly because that is the demand of your customer. You can prioritize the requirements of the billing part. Advantages: errors are very easy to be recognized. It is very easy to test and debug because we are talking about unit models, small modules, and we are testing and debugging it. Once your first phase of testing and debugging is 100% correct, then your second phase will not be difficult because first phase is already been tested and debugged. So you have to just test the integration part, that is first plus second system. It is more flexible. It is simple to manage risk because it is handled during its iteration. Iteration is done. The client gets important functionalities early, as I just told you. What are the disadvantages? First of all, it needs a good planning. Okay, you need to plan your all stages priorly and very accurately. The total cost is very high because you don't know how much you're going to require the resource, the manpower to complete those prioritized functionalities. Well-defined module interfaces are needed. If you're not sure about your requirements, do not go for this particular model. Thank you so much for listening to the incremental process model. If you have any query, write down to the comment box. Thank you so much.